Greetings, greetings, greetings. Captain Buffalo Soldier here. Uh, it's the backside of my tent. Uh, I I'm camped out, living outside again, very temporarily. Um, I've got a lot to say, so I'll try to keep it rolling and avoid the miscellaneous shit I'm doing in my survival. Uh, Chucking a bag of my trash close to the freeway so Caltrans can get it. Uh, I'm on the move to go to this church this morning so I can use the Wi-Fi to upload this video. But anyway, I like to begin this video by greeting my teacher uh, in the martial arts, uh, Amin Hassan. It's Captain Buffalo Soldier here to say to you personally that you misunderstood uh, what the Grandmaster was telling you when he pointed me out in class to say that I was a teacher, uh, which had nothing to do with the martial arts. Uh, I recognize the fact that you're about manipulation of peoples, and that I refuse to engage you in conversation further because there's nothing that you can teach me that's worth learning. There's nothing you have to say that's worth knowing. I know that uh, you have been quite inappropriate with my wife. I didn't need to hear that from you or from her. Uh, I was in a broken state back in the 90s when I was in, I hitchhiked into Wilmington, Delaware, and was arrested at the job service, the unemployment office. I wrote about this in my book, uh, Captain Buffalo Soldier, selling on Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing. That I was in the job service, uh, just checking it out to see what they had, and I went to the toilet, the bathroom, and there was a man that came in behind me, and I was standing at the urinal. There was water on the floor, and I looked over my shoulder and told the man, "The toilet's broken. You can't use it." And to make a long story short, I was after I left the toilet, I was went into the office and in the process of being interviewed, and there was somebody that came and whispered in the interviewer's ear, and he excused himself, say, "Be right back." A minute later, uh, I could I didn't hear any sound. They had evacuated the building, and I stood up to look over the partition, and there was two state police officers there with their weapons drawn on me, ordering me down on the floor. And one of them was shaking like a leaf. Afterwards, I thanked him so much for not shooting me. But uh, once they got me to the station, they finally explained that the guy in the bathroom said that I told him I had a gun and knew how to use it. I told him the toilet's broken, you can't use it. Uh, so they try to uh, offer me 3 years in prison after a couple of weeks in jail and a little bit of time in the psych ward. And excuse me. Uh, I turned that down and actually cussed at the prosecutor and called her a bitch that I need to talk to the judge. And then they confessed that the guy didn't show up. The state's witness, the man who worked at the unemployment office, didn't show up because he couldn't swear he heard what he thought he heard, and that he was about to retire anyway, and was the old man hard of hearing. Uh, but before they let me know all of that, they was trying to get me to confess and accept 3 years in prison. So they was willing to send me to prison without any evidence of what it was that I was being accused of from this witness. And that's just how they treat us, railroad us black men into taking deals. So I've been dealing with this all my life. I was 28 years old uh, when that happened. Anyway, uh, I was in a broken state and just kind of meditating on healing my mind in Delaware, staying at a rescue mission, sleeping outside also, and eating in the soup kitchens. They had two main soup kitchens there. I was eating in, and I went to this neighborhood community center and began lifting weights and working out, and noticed that they had a martial arts class there. So that's how I met my teacher. And seeing that I was struggling psychologically, he began to uh, enjoy attempting to get in further insight into my mind. And so he was fascinated with the fact of my homeless condition, and began to uh, have some infatuation with me. And at the time, I didn't know that he liked men because he was in a relationship with Yoko Yoko Gary, who was a Japanese woman who I'm also very fond of. Not in a sexual way, but I believe she's also fond of me. Uh, that uh, she confided in me, you know, and at several times she has even said to me, "Why don't I just move in with a woman?" Explaining that that's what my teacher does, and that in fact that he moved in with her uninvited, in a nutshell. And back to him, uh, uh, as time went on, I was very serious about my training, meaning that that's all that I was doing was eating in these soup kitchens and training in the martial arts. And this and an extended version of the story is in my book, Captain Buffalo Soldier, selling on Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing. I'm calling this video Curse of the White Girls to explain how my teacher in the yin and yang of things injected himself into this by uh, his coveting my wife and attempting to take control of the both of us uh, from a sexual perspective. And, and so my wife uh, succumbed to that and rejected me uh, in the process further and our separation. So we had problems uh, uh, prior, but uh, his was the nail in the coffin, so to speak. Um, so I'm saying that uh, they don't know that I see, I saw them, and I'm mentioning this to say that uh, my teacher is a warlock, a practitioner of witchcraft, and so is my wife, also a witch. Uh, my ex-wife. I'm believing we are divorced. That happened in Holland. So her surname is Beamster. Her family name Anya Beamster, and I am calling them out uh, because of the sinister way in which they have dealt with me. So uh, I eventually went to Holland with my wife, and our son was born there. He was conceived here in the United States, but born there in Holland. And and my wife has two sisters, and the the her younger sister. They are inseparable, uh, painfully so. And I know there's more to the relationship than what meets the eye, but the interesting part to me is that her sister worked tirelessly to get rid of me when I was in Holland. Uh, that both sisters hated me with a passion, but the younger sister is the one that uh, really took action to the degree that she involved her boyfriend, whose name was Diedrich, and my son, my baby boy, was born in Diedrich's house there in Amsterdam. As when I first went to Holland, we stayed there for a few days. I, I stayed there less than my wife because I was working on our apartment, which had to be revitalized for it to make it livable for us to move in. Anyway, Diedrich enjoyed tormenting me uh, uh, and I closed the door so I didn't have to tolerate him. And through the course of my marriage there, initially when I arrived in Holland, my wife began to explain some things about their relationship. She was very fond of Diedrich, my wife, also. Uh, that made me suspect that she had even slept with him or had a threesome or something. I don't know. But anyway, uh, well, I know she had a relationship with Diedrich's son, who was uh, digging up bones of the ancestors in Africa. So the Dutch pride themselves on being international travelers. Uh, I apologize. I'm walking along the freeway and coming down off of it soon. Yeah, so the Dutch are international travelers, and my wife has been to many more countries than I have, and maybe I've been to a dozen or so. All the states, Alaska and Hawaii. I mean, we got a big country here in the U.S. Been down the Caribbean and U.S. territories and Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. But anyway, uh, yeah. So the wife. When I was fishing in Alaska, I'm gonna jump ahead. Uh, that I had to leave because the wife would push me away and make out like it was my fault that we couldn't get along because she would take my son and disappear for days at a time and come back with naked pictures of her and my son, claiming that her friend uh, Corinne had taken the pictures, but I had no evidence of that. I didn't know that she was even with Corinne. She could have been at her boyfriend's house for all I know. Uh, but Corinne was also a very, very big part of my marriage, and what she said was made me think that she was having sex with my wife also. Uh, my wife's sister, uh, Marielle Beamster, uh, separated from Diedrich after I told my wife that Diedrich didn't love her because uh, she was in a relationship with Diedrich, still having sex with him in a loving relationship while she knew he was going out and having sex with another woman forever how long until she said Diedrich had to choose which one he wanted, as if there was some type of honor in the fact that it wasn't cheating because she knew about it and that she was had welcomed the competition with the other woman to for him to make a decision of who was the best, which I thought was insanity. And so I told my wife that Diedrich didn't love her, and she in turn uh, left Diedrich. And And I don't know when this became a part of their plan, but in a nutshell, uh, I fell apart as my wife pushed me away more, and uh, and I refused to uh, see my own foolishness and being away from her 3 and 4 and 5 months at a time while working up in Alaska and traveling around the United States trying to put some money on the table uh, to give her uh, and to give to my oldest boy's mama, and then to go back to Europe. So uh, that I refused to see how she was making a fool out of me and fucking around as she pleased. So, uh, I'm not ashamed of being of giving my heart, of loving, and being made a fool of, because I know that that now that damn near 30 years have passed, 30 years have passed, that the shoe is on the other foot, and she recognizes that love is not such an easy thing to come by, and and that she can't duplicate the love that I had for her. She can't. Nobody is going to give her that. In other words, you can't buy it. You can't. Uh, it can't be imitated. And I I know that a unique person. So I in that regard, I'm being forced to toot my own horn. Excuse me. So yeah, I cried, and I was suicidal at first. That first year or so was very hard on me, and I fell apart. And it took many years for me to process, analyze, and recognize the truth of what happened. And it's only in recent years that collectively, as a global society, we have been able to identify these people and come up with a name with it. They call it narcissism. So my wife was using me as a damn battery, draining me. So she was enjoying my suffering, actually. So now that she doesn't have that, uh, she's her power is gone. And so, with that being said, uh, I believe my wife does love my son in her own twisted way, her own selfish way. Even though she separated us and made it out to my son like I chose not to be with them. Uh, my boy's name is Lamar. There in Amsterdam. Uh, anyway, uh, I had previously not named my son like in my book or any videos or anything because I was very protective of him. And now that he's an adult, I want to let him know, as I have previously done, that uh, he is welcome to to come here and claim his American citizenship. He doesn't need me to do that on his behalf, uh, but I will uh, once he contacts me. Uh, so anyway, my ex-wife's sister, Marielle Beamster, uh, worked in the film industry doing clothing, and went to Africa selling clothes, also the European style. So Africans was eating that up, right? And that's what made me not want to experience Africa, because it seemed that little white girls have taken over. The Africans are so fascinated with white pussy. But anyway, uh, she married an African, and she did so and had two children with him, two boys, in order to provide my son some melanated family there so that he wouldn't be on the outside as far as family concerned amongst my wife's racist segregated family. So my boy was alone until she had those two boys. And testament to the sisters of how they stuck together on this. And for me, it's spiritual, as I say, that I believe that they are of the same witches coven, and uh, and that this African that Muriel Beamster married, that she had no intention on staying with this man. The only purpose was to provide my son some family, right? And so they've done that. And I try to explain to my son also that his heritage is here on this U.S. soil. That our family heritage has always been here. That we have African ancestry, yes, but it's the same as the entire world has African ancestry. That my father's father was here, born here. Uh, we have some Native American roots also here. So as far as the melanin in his skin, he's more closely connected here than he is in Africa. So the wife tried to uh, take my son mentally away also by connecting him to Africa. So they all often travel there, and she goes there under the auspice of teaching Africans something, as she's a school teacher now, and and I'm not buying that. She goes there to have sex with African nipples and to solicit voodoo to use against me, not knowing that I know what she's doing and that I'm able to alchemize whatever it is that she or my teacher is able to send my way, because God has provided me a divine mission uh, that I don't have a choice to sidestep. So I am commissioned by the divine Almighty God to make something happen. This is the reason that Captain Buffalo Soldier exists. So I can't be destroyed by the likes of them uh, or anyone else until I put my foot down of what my purpose is. So I'm saying all of this to say that the yin and yang of it all, that somebody has got to pay a price also for what it is that they did. So the conjuring up of evil spirits, or the spells and voodoos and witchcraft or whatever, you know, that's coming back to y'all, because it ain't doing nothing to me. I mean, I've already I was homeless before I met y'all, so they ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm I'm uh I'm since then I've published a book. I've continued to travel around the world. I'm about to get my CDL and manifest this wealth to have the organization that I envision to be of service to people. My teacher tried to sense that had a sense of this thing that was on me, and tried to get me to collab with him to say that he wanted to form a church for its nonprofit status, to be able to shield his house from that, which is Yoko's house. So my teacher Amin Hassan has been living off of this woman, and she's been taking good care of him. He was a janitor for uh, at the VA hospital there in Wilmington, Delaware, and took an early retirement from that so that he could travel to Europe to go see my wife. He doesn't uh, think that I know that. He told me he went to Germany, but I know uh, that he made arrangements to see her. Uh, this is the one thing that really stood out for me for this is that my wife have a friend, Corinne, that I was talking about, who was instrumental in being between us, had control over my wife. So my wife was in submission to Corinne, and Corinne had two children with a friend of hers that it was explained to me that this friend masturbated into a cup, and Corinne took that semen and poured it into herself, and was able to get pregnant and have two healthy children. So she did that twice. So once, when I came back from Alaska, fishing, my wife, out of the blue, stuck her finger into herself, and about 5 foot away from me, and pulled it out with blood on it to say she was on her period. And this dramatization was done so that she could have sex with me and then claim to be pregnant. But I believe that she was already pregnant when she did this, uh, and that she may have done the same thing with my teacher's semen if she didn't have sex with him directly at that time. So uh, it's a very foul and vulgar situation, but no doubt there's some good people in Holland. I've met some, but uh, they also have the most vulgar people in the world, and willing to do some of the most foul shit you ever want to imagine. And for me, this was one of them. So I'm saying all of this to say what my belief is, that I had sex with my wife, and then the next day she told me she was pregnant, and we both laughed, kind of, you know, and I kind of let it roll off my back without confronting her about her infidelity. Uh, but she wanted me to believe that this child was mine. And it wasn't long after that that I was pushed out again. And I was in my teacher's living room as we talked, and my wife called. Mind you, I never gave her his number or told her to call me there. So she called and talked to my teacher. I'm looking right in his face. And she talked to him for about 20 to 30 seconds. Then he handed the phone to me. He didn't say a word to her, he just listened. So imagining that she told him that she lost the baby, right? And then he gives the phone to me, and she tells me that she lost the baby. And I, in turn, respond that, uh, what makes you think that I ever wanted to have another child with you? You know, knowing that uh, I was I was putting on a show for him, my teacher, who was observing me communicating with my wife. But uh, it bothered me, but I let that roll off my back too. That I knew that she told him first before she told me. You know, and the only thing he would say is that later on, when I confronted him, is that my wife called him and told him that I abused her. You know, so she had put him out in front in the middle of my relationship as if he was had some kind of authority over me. You know, so in other words, that had revealed to me their relationship, her infidelity, mentally, physically, and emotionally. So that was very painful for me to deal with, that I didn't come to terms with that until I was in my early 40s, and finally had accepted in my mind and ended my relationship with my teacher. Then I called him, and he didn't pick up the phone. I called Yoko's house, and and left my phone number. When he called me back, I didn't answer because I was sleeping. Uh, maybe want to say maybe the time zone was different because I was living in Puerto Rico at the time, and well, I was living on St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, actually. So we began to send text messages, and so I told him that I didn't want him to die, thinking that I didn't see him, and because I had known that he tried to control my wives. So I've been married twice. So he tells me that the ugly wife is the only one that he had something to do with, because she came to visit him looking for me, and he gave her some money for gas to get back where she was from or whatever. But the truth is that he leveraged the first wife, who was unattractive, to be able to have the confidence of my second wife, who was beautiful, and to to downplay me as being somebody who was mentally incompetent and capable of loving anyone. So, yes, I have been taken advantage of by women, and as a homeless man, being very vulnerable to them. So, and that's one of the reasons why I choose to stay outside rather than move in with a woman. Is I'll not have one take care of me in this dishonorable fashion. So uh, this is inserted as part of my story that has not been published as of yet. Curse of the White Girls, and I'm not worried about nobody stealing it. That is so twisted up in my personal life uh, that it would be hard to do so, and I haven't exposed everything about it. And so I'm doing so the peoples that I've mentioned to put their minds at ease that is that what it is that they're ashamed of and would like to silence me about will be of no consequence because it's already exposed here in this video. Uh, Curse of the White Girls. Yeah, so my teacher, Amin Hassan, one final point uh, is bisexual. So he was badgering the wife for information about me uh, to gain some inside information on whether or not, good morning, whether or not he could have sex with me, which I was disgusted with. But it, uh, her knowing uh, my vulnerabilities and my uh, sensitivity, having made me cry because of her brutality and mental and emotional, which they call narcissism now. That she let him know that I could be dominated, which was misunderstood. And my love for her, that she didn't see me being able to cut her off, which I was eventually able to do. It took me a lot of years, but now I'm there, and and now that she's old and wrinkly, she doesn't have as many options. And now that she has been fucking all over the world, uh, taking them big mandingo dicks, uh, I don't think as many Dutchmen are interested in her. And one of the things my wife has done, uh, which I had some hand in, is she inherited uh, some money that enabled her to purchase a house there in Holland and Amsterdam, and her global travel has allowed her to do this. So that's what I began the video talking about, the travel of the Dutch. So what they commonly do is befriend older people who leave them in their wills. So, and that's what she was able to capitalize off of that. So I, um, at the end of our marriage, I was in the in my apartment alone, and my wife had left me and took my son. So um, uh, this man uh, that left my wife this money, he called her. Now she said that the man was married, that he had a wife. I have no evidence of that because I never spoke to her. So it was only this man who I did speak to and have knowledge of his name, which was Spikerman, and he lived in New Zealand. So uh, when he called and asked for my wife on her birthday. So which is coming up this June, June the 8th. She'll be 65. So June the 8th, he calls back in 97. And, and I cussed him out because he asked for Anya Beamster. And she was, she didn't use my name. It was something that had to be forced on her about with organizations and such that would throw Ross on the end of her name. Uh, uh, and so I cussed him out. Fuck you, Spikerman. Her name isn't Beamster anymore. It's Ross. And he didn't, to my knowledge, even speak English or speak it so well. But with that, I know that uh, she spoke with him again and was able to clean that up and let him know that the marriage was over and that we were divorcing or whatever, and stayed in touch with her over the years, and what I believe solidified her in his will because of this black man that took advantage of her kindness and love and married her and left her high and dry with a child. So as the way she presented it is to be, that she was the victim in this marriage. When the truth is that she married me with the intention of securing American citizenship, and that spun her plan for a loop and me sending her back to Holland. So she needed me to come to Holland also so she could reject me there, uh, uh, enticing me to violence so she can look good to her family and friends to say that she tried and that she's divorcing me because I was violent or abusive. So there you go. So I reached out to grab her by the neck just as a reflex, when we were in the midst of a heated argument, that that arguing basically she wanted it to be over. So she was uh, uh, telling me, you know, that to go love somebody else, basically with her exact words. And then she says, and I say, I love you, and she's like, why do you love me? What is it about me that you love, basically? Why do you love me? And that struck a nerve with me, and I went to grab her by the throat, and she tucked her chin, and I hit her top of her head with my palm and banged her head off the wall. So that was the abuse that she was able to register and tell everybody that I did to her as why we're getting divorced because I abused her. So that was the goal of what she wanted was the physical uh, evidence of abuse to be able to justify the divorce to say that She had given maximum effort, that she loved me and tried to make it work. And even explained to my son that, I was the love of her life and all of that. Which the truth was, she kept throwing this attorney up in my face from Utah, whose name is uh, Jim Bradshaw. You know that Salt Lake City, Utah. That she had went to. She was in a relationship with him when I met her. You know, and that he wouldn't marry her, and maybe because he was already married, I'm not sure, but he wouldn't marry her, and uh, uh, she said something as if to trigger me, and I knew what she was doing, and because I loved her, it didn't matter as how the proposal went, as that when it came time for her to, she was traveling with me. So when it came time that her visa ran out, she she is is talking with me about it as if trying to come up with some ideas of how she could stay. And she says that she could ask this attorney, Jim Bradshaw, to be her sponsor, which was a low blow for me because, you know, I would never do that, to be in a relationship with somebody and actually present them with somebody else that I was going to use to my benefit in some kind of way. So I was disgusted with that, but I didn't give her that energy, and just said, hey, I love you, and I would have no problem uh, being family with you. I'll marry you, and you don't have to go back home if you don't want to. So, uh, so in that way, she could say that the marriage was my idea. So everything was really diabolical, and maybe she did have some feelings for me. You know, I find it very, very strange to have so much intimacy with somebody that you didn't have feelings for, and so my son is now pushing 30. The son that we have together. So my oldest boy, in turn, also his mother, uh, Gloria Restak, that's spelled with an H, uh, is close to the capital city in Pennsylvania, is living in Stilton, Pennsylvania, right next to Harrisburg. And so I've my family moved to Harrisburg when I was 14. So I finished growing up there, and as I've stated uh, in the previous video, maybe, or maybe I deleted and started this one, but I had a I had a girlfriend named Nancy Thomas, and the reason Nancy was my girlfriend is because when I was uh, I was 20 years old, and I don't know how old Nancy was. Uh, she might have been close to 30. She was a lot older than me, right? But and she had been married before, and so uh, Nancy is how I met my son's mother. So I would have never met her or had any dealings with her at all without Nancy's involvement. So how this went down is that Nancy uh, called me a young boy and uh, jugging at my pride. So I said, "Young boy, I'll make you my woman," you know. And so, as a good-looking kid, I just didn't feel intimidated with females. I could scoop them up at will. I, I so I and that's what happened. So I made Nancy my woman, and and she knew that I had beat up her brother. So Nancy's brother was closer to my age, and his name was Tom. And I don't know what his last name is. I don't think it was Thomas. I think Nancy's last name might have been Thomas because she married a man named Thomas. So I don't know what Tom's last name was, but their mother had children who were both black and white. And so I don't know all the ethnicities of the children, but she was a white woman, and she had a whole bunch of kids. It was a lot of them. So I don't know how many of them it was. It might have been 7 or 8 of them. But um, me and a friend of mine was standing on a street corner in front of a bar, passing a quart of beer back and forth, smoking a joint. And I said, "Oh, that dude right there is trying to talk to my sister." It was this curly haired white boy named Tom. And as I say, I'm not even sure that Tom was all the way white, but he looked white to me, right? So my homie just said, "Get him." And and so I ran up on Tom and hit him with a flurry of Sugar Ray punches. And my friend grabbed him, picked him up, and suplexed him. And I grabbed my friend and pulled him back away from Tom on the ground so he couldn't kick him or anything like that. And I had never known that my friend had intended to do that. So I was very upset with about that, and let Tom get up so he could leave. And so he told his brother. And as me and my friend were walking to my house, I seen the brother coming down the steps from my porch of my house, and maybe somebody inside had told him that I wasn't home. But as we approached about 25 feet away or so, I said, "Oh, that's his brother right there." He pulled a butcher knife out of a jacket or something like that. It was a long kitchen knife, and began to chase us. And so we didn't get 20 feet down the block before my friend grabbed a chair off of somebody's porch and threw it under the brother's legs, and he got tangled up in that, and almost fell on his own knife, and so he stopped chasing us. And so because of my friend's quick thinking, we didn't have to duck and dodge or anything like that, or fight this dude with a knife. So uh, in the escaping of that, I told my friend, this is my responsibility. So we gonna part company. So we gonna split up. We ain't hanging out no more. In other words, so if this dude catches me, I'll be by myself, and I don't jeopardize you. So I'll be. If anybody get killed, it's gonna be me. I told him. So me and my friend parted company, and the brother never came back. So he stopped hunting me, and the reason for that, I believe, is that his mom came up with a plan, and I believe that she was a practitioner of witchcraft, and so she put a hex on my family and joined us together. So and cursed me that I would have white girls to to uh, to be responsible for my bloodline, and that my bloodline would be white. So she almost accomplished that, but as I say, my oldest son, have two kids with a black girl, so give me two chocolate grandbabies, and I've awakened to the degree that I can fight against it, recognizing the spell and to be able to alchemize it. So my European wife doesn't know that she's a part of this curse of the white girls. As my teacher also, they just believe that it's them that have been trying to hurt me, not knowing that there was a curse on top of uh, my situation that they injected themselves into, which I have alchemized them also. So, uh, Curse of the White Girls. Um, so, my sisters being a part of this in a way that my oldest sister, Karen, Tom was her boyfriend. So, that ended their relationship. And, uh, and so in my next video, I will begin to uh, dissect and explain my sister's involvement in initiating this Curse of the White Girls, and how I'm going to make this into a film project. So, this video is called Yin and Yang, okay, which is implicating my teacher, Amin Hassan, from Wilmington, Delaware, who's eighth degree black belt, uh, promoted by Grandmaster Jock Taylor and and Goju. So Goju is the root style of my martial arts training, and I have achieved the rank of green belt, which I don't accept as being my true knowledge after uh, 30 plus years of my own personal study, and that the martial arts has nothing to do with my fighting ability or understanding or philosophy or anything of that nature. I just report on who I am, and the source of uh, the information that I'm sharing with you. So, Jock Taylor, who is dead right now, is the founder of Goju Tai Jiu Jitsu, and my teacher Amin Hassan is co-founder of Gosei Goju, which is uh, uh, in conjunction with two other teachers, uh, Master Benny Young, and who is still alive, who is a ninth degree black belt, outranking my teacher, and also who he lied to me about and told me he was a third degree, as if he outranked it. Uh, uh, Zip is what his nickname is. And so I watched Zip humble my teacher and know that he was afraid of him. So my teacher liked to talk shit about people he know he can whoop, but will buckle under people that'll give him any type of challenge. And anyway, uh, so I'm sure he talked tough about me to my wife that he was going to do something to me to get her to submit to him. So he's an expert manipulator, and her being a weak-minded person, uh, she fell for that hook, line, and sinker. Because I have seen my teacher witness this personally, where he was talking shit about beating up uh, Grandmaster John Buddy Gray. Okay, we called him Buddy. You know, those of his peers called him Buddy. As being one of his students, I referred to him as Sensei Buddy. You know, uh, so uh, Sensei Buddy Gray, Grandmaster Buddy Gray, my teacher was talking about. My teacher Amin Hassan was talking about beating him up in front of his students. You know, I wasn't feeding into that, but my teacher's trying to sound tough and impressing me, but that he's all that in a bag of chips. And just as he was saying he was gonna beat him up in front of his students, that same fucking millisecond, Grandmaster John Buddy Gray walks in the back door of my teacher's house, and it went from this scowl to the "Hey, how you doing?" in the same fucking breath, and I was like, "This two-faced, backstabbing, ass-kissing motherfucker." You know, I don't, I can't deal with fake motherfuckers. That was the last time that I saw my teacher. I was 42 years old. You know, he was a he was a bully, yes, but as I say, he would lick the ass of somebody who who he knew he couldn't whoop. He was trying to convince me like I was one of his fucking cheerleaders because I had I had respect, you know what I mean, as I respected everybody. But he tried to, you know, turn his back on Grandmaster John Buddy Gray to get me to turn my back to say I was his student and not John Buddy Gray's student, you know. And I didn't appreciate his manipulation of me in that way. But anyway, uh, yeah. So this was the new house that my that Yoko had moved my teacher into uh, to get him away from her first house, where that was close to William Hicks Anderson Community Center, where my training had begun. Because there was youngsters out in the neighborhood selling crack and selling weed and stuff like that. And so my teacher forced her to move into this expensive house uh, that maybe they couldn't afford. So I got some impression that there was uh, financial pressure because uh, my teacher's retirement didn't last that long. His money didn't last that long. After he went to Europe to see my wife, uh, he was broke. So he had to get a job and was working at a plastic factory making minimum wage. It wasn't no more than $5 or $6 an hour. I know that for a fact because when I arrived there, I went and got a job and worked at the same factory he was working at, only for about a week or so. I didn't. That's all I could handle of him. And he was having a tournament and trying to coerce me into participating, which I uh, would never do because the first tournament I participated in, I didn't have all the information, meaning that there was a guy came with a punch that didn't connect, and they called that a point. And I said, he never touched me. And they said, well, he didn't have to. They called it a focus punch. So I didn't know about that. That my teacher never told me about that. So I seen him as handicapping me further. And I'm saying further because that I was dominant. So I was so dominant that uh, my classmates were afraid of me. So, um, uh, and and actually, I was like the yin and yang. I was hard and soft. So I was, it hurt me that I had uh, uh, some of my classmates afraid of me, but there was others also to know that I was very giving and nurturing and loved them, and tried to be as helpful as I possibly could. But I was very stern and non-flexible. That I was a very disciplined and wanted discipline in the dojo, so I didn't tolerate any horseplay or anything like that at the expense of my class time. So I my teacher made me an assistant instructor as a white belt after the grandmaster had Jock Taylor had revealed to him that I was a teacher, not understanding that the lesson would come many years later, as it is being manifested now in this video. So I'm saying all of this to say that that my teacher was financially uh, uh, unable to um, provide himself with the lifestyle that Yoko Gary was providing for him. So she confided in me that if something happened to her, if she passed away and was able to go to work, she would know what would happen to them. To let me know that finances was on shaky ground. Um, so uh, my man Mike and and Junior, I'm gonna leave them out of this video uh, for uh, their protection and my love of them. The children, Yoko's son, and my teacher's youngest boy. So yeah, um, some of this is present and in more detail in my book, Captain Buffalo Soldier, selling on Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing. But I had not mentioned my teacher's name, name of my ex-wife, and my siblings or anybody else. And so the other thing about my son is that his his he was born on September 11th, my oldest boy. So I call him my disaster baby. Now I love my son dearly, but he has been a hard head and and uh, and fought me tooth and nail on everything, every good thing I tried to do for him. So he's caused disasters in my world by him not doing as I said, making life more difficult as I try to provide for him, and has um, worked together with his mother to do that. That she's been very adamant about him going against whatever it is I said that he need to do or that he should do. That she's been working against both of us, and as a result, keeping my son in an impoverished condition. Uh, 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 when I was trying to send him to school, she was telling him he need to take a year off, as if we rich people, to go see the world. That he been in school 12 years and he deserve a break, uh, and that type of thing, which was counterproductive to my son getting what he needed to get to be successful in this life. So my boy never finished college, in other words, for that reason. And trying to be a man and things of this nature. And so I had to threaten my son with death actually to get him to straighten up, to let him know that he didn't have to worry about the police or anybody, that I would kill him if he wanted to, think he could kill or sell drugs or run the street and be in and out of jail, go to prison and stuff like that. I told him he didn't have to worry about the police coming to get him. I was coming for him, and I believe that's what kept my son out of prison and kept him from uh, hurt, harm, and danger, and give him a sense of obligation to live an honorable life. So these are words that I put in my son's head, that we are honorable people, that dishonorable things I'm not going to tolerate. So him uh, having sex with his sister is a dishonorable thing that I'm not letting him get away with. So I believe that my his sister's oldest son uh, is my son's baby. That she is not my daughter, but her mother had a baby when when I met her. Her name is Gloria Restak. So my grandson's name is Sincere. So and I'll talk about that in the next video and my son and his mother and that situation. Uh, all because this video is going over an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm gonna go into church and sit down here and charge my phone and uh, and get me some water. So peace and love, Captain Buffalo Soldier here. Thank you for your time. Ciao.